Okay, so we've got the mismatched words. Oh no, how will we match them up? Should we look for the answers? Okay, so hypoporia or hypopora. Okay, asking and answering a rhetorical question. Now, in a minute, you are going to choose 3 of these and try to create sentences. So I'm going to just give you a quick evaluation as we go through. I do think this is one of the easiest ones, asking and answering a question. Is there anything we can do? Yes, there is. Is this the right way to do things? No, it isn't. So actually it is one of those that if I was saying which of these is the easier rhetorical figures or easier in terms of you can kind of think your way through it quite quickly, I really like this one. Okay, now polysyndentation, the repeated use of and in the list. Now this is one of those that feels like it's one of the easiest ones to do, but you've got to be careful because as we remember from all our years of teaching like primary school, earlier on in Key Stage 3, we're very quick as teachers to say, oh, don't overuse and. If you overuse and, it can simplify your ideas. And if you're using and to link the wrong things, it can create quite a monotonous tone. So repeated use of and in a list. I would say this works really well when you maybe want to list 3 adjectives or 3 noun phrases that really help to amplify what something's like. Yep, so child labour is cruel and inhumane and outrageously evil. Because then actually what you do is that and, rather than commas, kind of makes you focus on each of those 3 really important words. So with polysyndentation, you don't want to just be using it all the time, thinking you're being rhetorically funny and clever, but end up just actually using quite a simple sentence structure. I went to the shops and I bought a loaf of bread and it was really bad and it had mold on it and I shouldn't have done it and I should have gone back and changed it and I forgot and I'm really angry because I wasted my money and I had to throw my bread away. When we use and in the wrong way, we literally lose people. Yeah. So that one, be careful. Don't use it, but if you think to use it, am I really using it to join really powerful words together? Okay, anaphora, repeating the same sentence opening. So this is the one when you, over a series of consecutive sentences, so possibly within a paragraph, okay, that you repeat the same sentence opening. The important thing is, the crucial thing is, just thinking about our paragraph today, we're going to be writing about what the most important thing is. Yeah? So, repeating the same sentence opening. I have a dream. I have a dream. Do you love that Martin Luther King speech? Okay. Leotis, describing things in terms of what they are not. So actually that can work really well. And it can also be good at that definition and amplification stage. So, when we've looked at our paragraph structure, we've got our topic sentence, and then we think, can I define any of those keywords? Can I amplify them? Sometimes you can do like amplification in terms of Leotis, what it's not. So if we were talking about plastic pollution is not nature's fault. Plastic pollution is not the result of nature turning against us. Plastic pollution is not something that was unavoidable. So you could use it in terms of amplification, helping people to understand more about a topic in terms of what it's not. So that one could work. And diplosis, okay. Starting a new sentence with the same word used to end the last sentence. Again, this can be a really good technique. And it shows with this one, again, that planning, because to use this correctly, you really have to be thinking about your choice of words. Now, the way this sometimes works is you could accidentally write a sentence and think, oh, that's a good word that I've ended with. I'm going to use andioplosis and begin my next sentence with the same word. So, child labour is a modern monster. Full stop. Monsters are evil, inhumane, and often of our own making. So you could break it that way. Child labour is a modern monster. Full stop. Monsters are. Yeah? Now, that's my andioplosis. So I've begun my second sentence with the same word I used to end the last one. And again, it can work well But when we're planning and writing like we're going to be today, don't overthink it. You know, don't sit there for 20 minutes trying to use a sentence or create a sentence that uses antiplosives. The reason there are so many that you can choose from is that it should help you make some quick decisions. So, for example, this next one, actually, the fronted disjuncts is so easy to include because you begin a sentence with obviously, clearly, surely. Okay, so that makes it a really easy one to always put in your bank. So if you're planning a piece of writing, not just the speech this week, but in the future, GCSE, fronted disjuncts, paper 2, your wonderful teacher, very lucky to have you in year 10, is talking to you about this style of writing. Fronted disjuncts are always one of the easiest ones to use, and they still get credit for being a feature of a high style, of being one of those rhetorical kind of sentence structures. Obviously, clearly, surely. Now, if we're talking about the content of our paragraphs today, which is going to be about the most important thing, that the rising action, what's so important about your topic, beginning a sentence with obviously, clearly, surely actually is a really natural step. Obviously, obviously the most important reason why child labour wrong is clearly the most important aspect is. So that will be an easy one. Now, I like this one, enigmatic sentences, because I like puzzles and my brain likes to puzzle this out. So the enigmatic sentence is where you hide the subject at the beginning. So you hide what you're writing about and then reveal it at the end. And when we did this a couple lessons ago, we kind of went adjective, 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 reveal. Yeah. So if we were thinking about just taking a sentence we've already done and changing the order of it. So thinking about my model, my metaphor of a monster and child labour, and I started really clearly with child labour as a modern monster. But I could have said, monstrous, inhumane, and outrageously evil. There is a new monster of the 20th century. Child labour. So I could restructure that whole sentence to just change the order so that it ends with the reveal. So guys, your job, you're going to use 3 different rhetorical figures of your own. So you're going to write 3 sentences for your own speech, each using a different rhetorical figure. Now again, at this point, you can turn off my lovely voice and just do your own 3 sentences, or I'm just going to show you my 3, and you can choose to adapt those to suit your writing. Okay, so pause and be completely independent, writing 3 sentences for your speech, each using a different rhetorical figure, just to practice, or stay with me. Okay, now guys, if you're staying with me, I've already given you a clue. Fronted disjuncts, surely, obviously, clearly. You just need a sentence that begins with one of those words. Now, where we revise, if you could go back and you could already have a sentence, you think, well, actually, I could just put surely there. I could clearly just add clearly there. Obviously, that's an obvious place to put it. It could go there. Or you create a brand new sentence. The paragraph we're going to be looking at today, that you're going to write in a minute, is this short, this paragraph about the setting, why it's an important thing. So surely the most important thing we can do is, okay, hypopora, which I love, question and an answer. Is there really anything we can change? The simple answer is yes. So again, give me a question and then just say the simple answer is for your yes, no, maybe. Yeah. Is there anything we can change? Now, the other way to play the game is, why is this such an important thing? So why is this important? And then your answer becomes your because. Because if we don't do anything, child labour will continue to run rampant. Yeah, it's a monster that will grow beyond our control. So sometimes you could do, is there anything we can change? And then a yes or no answer. Sometimes you could say why is this important? And then you answer it. Okay, so Litotes, child labour is not the problem of other countries. It is not something that only happened in the past. It is not something that we can abdicate responsibility for. So actually, this has created what we call quite extended phrases. I'm able to use, clauses. I'm able to use semicolons because I'm not linking individual words here. I'm linking phrases. So child labour is not the problem of other countries. So I'm saying what it's not, yeah? It is not something that only happened in the past. It is not something that we can abdicate responsibility for. Now, I love this phrase, abdicate responsibility. It's quite a nice one to bank when you're being persuasive. It means to give up. So in other words, a lot of people will abdicate responsibility. It's not my fault. We're saying, no, it's not something you can abdicate responsibility for. So you might say, plastic pollution is not the problem of other poor countries. It is not something that only happens ... It is not something that we can abdicate responsibility for. So again, you could use my phrasing, but begin to change the words and individual elements to create your own example of Leotes. Okay, so everybody should have 3 sentences. Brilliant. Right, guys, now for the rest of the lesson, and remember what I said, if you need more time on the other activities, you can do the writing across today, next week. Don't panic if you've got any gaps. You're going to have 2 hours next week to fill in. So we're going to just end with our last paragraph explaining why the topic's so important. So why is child labour so important? Why is plastic pollution so important? What will happen if things don't change? Okay, so that's what we're going to aim to do. Now, ending child labour is so important. If things don't change, we will be guilty of condemning yet more children to a monstrous fate. So our topic sentence is going to be why the topic's important, what will happen if things don't change. So every single one of us is going to write that as our first topic sentence to suit our topics. So we might say, tackling plastic pollution is so important. If things don't change, we will be guilty of, or we will be responsible for. So again, you can use my sentence and change the wording to introduce a focus on your topic if you feel safe to, if that makes you feel happier. If not, you just need to give me a topic sentence that in your own words tells me why your topic's important and what will happen if things don't change. So actually, as a topic sentence, we've got the dash there to show the shift from why it's important to what will happen. So it's a longer topic sentence. But and again, these stages now are to help you. If you think you can write a 5-sentence paragraph about why your chosen topic is so important and what will happen if we don't change it, and you're confident that you could do that, maybe using an allusion or one of these rhetorical features, brilliant. If you want to use this structure, it's here to you, and I've just shown you mine. So, ending child labour is so important. If things don't change, we will be guilty of condemning yet more children to a monstrous fate. I've used my metaphor. Some people prefer to think that monsters don't exist in the grown-up world. But by monstrous, I'm defining the future of these children as being scary and inhumane. So I've done a little bit of definition of an amplification. I am defining the future of these children. I've amplified what I mean by monstrous, okay? But I've also had a little counterpoint. Some people prefer to think that monsters don't exist. So I'm also challenging. So I've definitely got definition and amplification there. Okay, explanation, a because or a reason why. Now, what I've done here, can you see I had scary and inhumane at the end of my last sentence? So this is kind of, oh my gosh, this is like 2 rhetorical features for one, because it's a hyperpora and Leotes. Why scary and inhumane? Because they're forced to work rather than go to school, creating a cycle of poverty with no way out. Okay, so I've done that. Now, in previous lessons, we've done the if and then at this stage, but I've just created a but moment. But we can break the cycle by something as simple as changing where we shop. Okay, so there's my but moment. And then my closing sentence, this time I decided to be cyclical. So by beginning to shop ethically and not buying into the demand for cheap clothing, we could change the way clothes are manufactured in other countries, reducing the need for child labour. Because I focused then more on what we can do to change. So I've gone from a negative to a positive. Now, your final challenge then is to do your paragraph that makes it really clear why your topic's so important and what will happen if things don't change. So actually, if I was redrafting mine, I should have focused more on the negatives maybe of what will happen if we don't change rather than giving something to do. And that's the redrafting process. I'm thinking, actually, I moved away. I need to change those last 2 sentences because I've moved away from the idea of what the negatives and have tried to balance it with something positive too soon. So I would actually own that paragraph does use lots of the features. We've got metaphor. We've got Leotes, hyporia. I haven't got, my cultural illusion. And actually that effect bit, I don't like it. I really want to actually maybe then give in that box, I would change that and therefore change my closing sentence to talk about the children's fate, actually. So I might want to get some statistics in there, actually, about how bad it is, or that 1 in 3 children in these countries dies before the age of 16. So I might actually want to talk about some more bad stuff first. But that's the whole point of this process. We are constantly crafting. So guys, enjoy your paragraph writing. See you next week.